On the scientific tip, testosterone seems to be lowering in young men at an alarming rate. Consider the shitty things we generally eat and how little people really exercise these days, and you'll see that not only is there a cultural reason for why men are less manly these days, but a physiological reason as well. Other reasons include the fact that we don't need to fight for our food. We don't need to fight for sexual gratification due to pornography, which every manly man should avoid. We don't need to fight to sustain ourselves in any physical or intense way, and therefore gentility is what now trumps aggressive manhood. Some of this is good, but it is also quite disturbing as well because it's leading to a culture of oversensitivity in the United States. Sensitivity is one thing, but it can go too far. For example, when we start to enforce the use of the some 58 gender pronouns, and our language will break down into a confusing mess. But some people are pushing back. Masculinity still exists, and of course, it changes. But it exists in some ways hidden, trodden, and in some places on the fringe of modern cultural ideals. The idea of hard-working, principled, frontier ruggedness is hard to find today, but it is still ingrained in our culture. Men and women still embrace what masculinity stands for, which is confidence, responsibility, action, and a host of other lesser traits. Master these big three things and you have already set yourself up beyond most Americans, regardless of your sex and gender. I believe that with the progress in human rights for races and sexes, masculinity is an outdated concept in some ways, and what we should embrace is the idea that the traits which we used to believe to be masculine are now ubiquitous, and therefore now generally ideal human traits for all people to aspire to. Not yet, but it's slowly dying. Most people will tell you that it's just evolved or changed. First off, to make sure we are on the same page, I'm going to assume that by masculinity you mean being a strong, tough-skinned, competitive, alpha, leader-like, bold, aggressive, assertive man, and etc. Yes, if that's your meaning, then it's definitely dying. We live in a society where that sort of masculinity is frowned upon. People want to tame it and control it. Anything that acts or looks like that is considered a threat to most. We also have an epidemic of men not being able to put their foot down, lacking a backbone, and allowing all sorts of women to walk on them. Men not knowing how or when to say no and putting up with all sorts of nonsense. Lastly, we have a bunch of boys being raised by single moms. And no, I'm not saying these moms are doing a bad job, but I am saying a woman can't teach a boy how to be a man.